Welcome to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten.
Hi, I'm Wendy. After I graduated with my master's in wellness management, I started my own company, T2 Coaching, Health, Fitness, and Sport.
And I'm Kirsten, an athlete, vegan, life coach, and girl mom, running a business focused on helping others create a life they love.
We are here to explore all things wellness to help you become the person you've always wanted to be.
So if that's why you're here, open your ears and your mind as we tackle the world of wellness together. Hey, everybody. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Kirsten. How are you?
I am doing very well today. What about you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Tis the
What was your wellness
season.
win?
Tis the season.
I know.
I have two again. So first, my kids,
Weird.
they all swam super fast. Very well organized meet. I'm happy for them because any athletes I coach are a reflection of me, and I live vicariously through them because I used to be an age group swimmer. So I know how they're feeling, training, going into races, those pre-race nerves, etc. And they did very well. And I believe it was 2 podcasts ago, we were talking about you and how you make your own cashew milk. And so I had went and bought some cashew milk. It's just cashews and filtered water because I wanted to try it. And it's not my favorite. So I decided I'm going to go back to making my own oat milk.
Ooh.
And so Dawn and I had made almond milk. We made oat milk, but it's been a few years, and I've commented I just stopped making it. But I'm also at the same time sick of buying the containers and wasting those containers. And some of them are recycled, some of them aren't. So I decided, Dawn, I'm going to make my own oat milk again. So we got some oatmeal and I looked up a recipe. So I'm making my own oat milk again to go with my smoothies. It's great.
That's awesome. I need to try oat milk because my milk maker makes oat milk, and I just got these oats. I think I mentioned them a couple weeks ago. They're protein oats that I never even heard of. So when you just mentioned that, if somebody out there is like, oh, I need more protein in my diet, these oats, they're just regular oats. They're Bob's Red Mill oats, but they're grown with extra protein. So they're not adding any protein powder. So if you end up making oat milk with those protein oats, that would be like more protein milk for those of you who are like needing more protein. So I just thought of that. So I don't need more protein, but that's a great thing I just thought of for people, because I still get the question all the time as a plant-based athlete is, how do you get your protein? So, well, my wellness win is last weekend, I got a surprise 4 days off, and it was amazing. Maybe even better than kicking ass on my race that didn't happen. I did my friend Ashley helps out this foundation called Big Waves in Colorado, and they do a 5K every year. So I was going to have to miss that. So I ended up doing that. I ended up doing a long run the next day too, because I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I signed up for a marathon in Maryland in November for my birthday and to check off a new state. So since I didn't get to do this triathlon, I was like, I guess I have 2 months to train or a full month to train for the marathon without having to take a recovery week. So I've been running, and it feels good to get back to running, because I typically, and this always surprises people, I typically run like 1 day a week when I'm training for an Ironman. I mean, for a triathlon. I run 1 day a week, and then I'll do like elliptical or step mill or water running the other 2 to 3 days a week. So it feels kind of good to be running more. I forgot, like, my body doesn't love running, but once I start running, my body loves running. So back to running for the next month, and got lots of stuff done. It felt really, really good.
Good. Yeah, my running's feeling amazing.
Yes. When is your first ultra?
Well, I wanted to do the Mystery Mountain Marathon coming up this weekend, and then I was going to do a 50K in 2 weeks from that, leading up to a 50-miler in December, but I'm going to be out of town. And so I did my own marathon at Kennesaw Mountain, and I'm looking for a 50K to do before my first 50 miler, but I'm okay if I don't, because I'm just feeling like when I'm running, I can keep going. My
Right.
mind knows I can keep going. And I set a personal goal that I'm going to admit it out loud. I looked at all the times, the results from the past, I think since 2016, since this 50 miler has been posting their results. I don't know if the 50 miler's been going on longer than that. And I want to be the fastest 50-year-old. I want to get the fastest 50-year-old time on this course.
Love that.
So I'm like, yeah, that's exciting for me. 50 miles, 50 miles. Again, if the weather happens to be just horrific, like I'm talking like downpours and cold,
Right.
I'm not going to run 50 miles. I'm going to save it. I'm going to just go down to the 50K. So I always feel good about having options, but I'm definitely, for whatever reason, my mindset is so different than it was a year ago. I'm excited to run 50 miles. And if I can find a 50K beforehand, I'll do it. But if not, I can do it on my own because I
Yeah.
did a marathon on my own. So I'm good.
Yeah. Well, good job. Good for you.
Yeah,
That'll be
thanks.
fun. So Wendy and I, it was my idea because I am working on in my personal growth, in my personal development right now. I'm working on, and this might sound kind of airy fairy to a lot of people, but healing my inner child. And I bought this because I always need props. I bought this deck of cards called the Inner Child Oracle. And I drew a card. I was like closing my eyes, like thinking about what card I want to draw. And I drew a card thinking, what is the very first thing I need to focus on to start working toward healing my inner child? And the card that came up was slow down. And I was like, damn it. Like, I don't like that idea because I'm not good at slowing down. And for me, slowing down means taking time to take things in, not to plan so far in advance, not to dwell on the past at all, but to more live in the moment and to let whatever happens in the moment happen in the moment. And Wendy is really good about this. And she's talked about this a lot, how she lives in the moment. She enjoys the moment. She's very present in the moment in her life. And that doesn't come naturally to me. I've been working really hard on it. And so the reminder that I do to slow down got me thinking about, I know I need to, because lately I've missed things like, not like it was a couple months ago, but like double booking an appointment. Wendy and I had talked about that. Or like, all of a sudden there's no money in my account and I have money in another account, but I lost track and I didn't transfer it. And now I owe $34 late fee, or, just little things like that, that I
Mhm.
feel like when I get too, busy and overwhelmed, I miss those things. And then they show up as an extra fee, or somebody getting angry at me, or me feeling bad about something, or it's just, and then I just feel all over the place. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of not missing moments in your life because you're filling your time too much or you're too busy. And then I also was thinking, because then when I mentioned it to Wendy about slowing down, she had mentioned something about, it's fall right now. A lot of people are going into off season, changing up their training. We've talked about this with periodization. We've talked about this with off season training, but that's more of a physical slowing down. So I thought we could just kind of touch on the importance of slowing down, what the benefits are, and how it contributes to life down the line of being more fulfilling, both physically and emotionally.
Right. So I want to talk about living in the present. So I've always learned from the past. I think that the past will give you good insight and good learning opportunities, but I don't live in the past, meaning, you know, I, initially when I moved to Georgia and business wise, I was living in the past. I'm like, God, I did all these things in Colorado for my business. My business was booming. And then I moved to Colorado. My business started taking a turn for its worse. Oh my God, I got to do what I used to do in Colorado. And then I'm like, no, I don't. I just got to be more aware of what worked and what didn't work. And I need to move on. I don't need to do what I used to do, because that doesn't mean it's going to work presently in the moment and where I'm living now. And so again, I learn from the past, whether it's life or training or racing, and I do what I need to do in the present. I don't look too far forward in the future. I mean, sure, you plan a race in the future and that helps you with the training to get to that race, or you plan a job opportunity or a family event or whatever you're planning, and that helps you process of how to get there. But I always like options. Like, yeah, sure, I'm planning for a 50-mile race, but I have the option to do a 50K. I have the option not to do it at all. Like I'm going on a 2-week vacation, and if I don't get any training in and I'm not feeling mentally confident, I could just postpone the race and do it a different time. And I'm okay with that. So my husband very much lives in the future, because that motivates him to get things done in the present. And he'll be talking about stuff. We're doing a lot of home renovation. He's talking, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not there. Like, this needs to be done before we're even getting to that point. Like, he's talking about stuff that probably won't be done for a year. And I'm like, what's the point of talking about it? That's a year away. Let's talk about what needs to be done now, because that's going to affect how we operate in a week. Like, let's get a toilet now, so we have a toilet, because right now we don't
We
have a
can go to
toilet.
the back.
So there's it's interesting to live with someone who so needs the present, needs that dangling to help motivate him to do the things he needs to do to get it done. Just like athletes, they need the dangling Ironman or race that they sign up a year in advance to motivate them now. Whereas from a training aspect, I'm always going to train. I need 8 weeks to decide what race I'm going to do an 8-week prep and get ready for a specific race distance or whatever, triathlon or ultra. So, and I think I'm very good at slowing down. I mean, really, I've always had FOMO. I want to do this. I want to do this from an athletics perspective, but breaking my patella, I mean, when you're forced to slow down and to stop and lay on the couch for 6 weeks, and then take a year and a half to rebuild, and take 2.5 years to rebuild even stronger. I mean, when you're forced to slow down, it just changes that perspective. Again, it becomes a mindset thing. You have to just accept it and live and focus on what you can do right now in the present. I broke my patella. I can't change that. That's already happened. What I can do is live day to day so I can continue to heal and do what I need to do to heal, so I can continue to do the things I used to be able to do.
Yeah. And I definitely am naturally more like Dawn. Little fun fact. So Dawn and I met Dawn way before I met Wendy. Dawn and I were her husband. Dawn and I worked together. We were personal trainers at the gym, and we connected over food. We talked about food a lot, how we're kind of like compulsive eaters, him and I. So we talked about food, we connected on food, and we were personal trainers. We had a lot of the same philosophies in life. So I am a lot like him. We were very similar. So we became fast friends. And then I'd heard about Wendy, but had never met Wendy. And so when Wendy and I met, I don't even did I can't remember if I knew that you were dating Dawn when we met, or
Well,
we met in
I
the
think we
triathlon, and then it
officially
was just
met
a
after
coincidence.
Ironman. I think after Ironman Boulder is when we
Yeah,
met in person. So
yeah,
I started dating Dawn in 99.
okay.
And so
But
we met, really, I believe it was after Boulder
yeah,
74,
it was right
Boulder
after the
5430 Sports Boulder.
5430. Yeah. Oh, which by the way, I told you Jose said hi.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
um. So yeah, so Dawn and I were friends before Wendy and I were friends. And then Wendy and I met, and people were always telling me, "Oh, you need to meet this girl, Wendy. You guys are have the same job, but
Yeah.
different gyms. You guys do the same. You guys are the same person, athletically and stuff like that." So we met. We did triathlon clinic. We had a kids tri team. It was fun, and that's how Wendy and I met a while ago. But yeah, I definitely relate more to how Dawn is. And that's what I naturally gravitate toward. And I've actually had to work really hard over the last 20 years to get to a point where I feel like I'm getting definitely better at being present. And I don't know if that partially it was from having a child, because more I can't plan my life in advance as much as I used to be able to, because I don't have 100% control over my life
Right.
like I did before I had a child. So having her, but also all my friends, they have older children. My sister, my brother, every friend, their children are either in high school, college, or grown. Most of my friends, they either have grandkids or, kids that are grown. So I have just heard, they've told me, but I've just heard over the years, it's going to go by so fast. It's their next thing you know, like the days are long, the years are short. All of a sudden, your kid's going to be in college and you're going to be like, where did the time go? And I think I had enough people, I've just heard that enough throughout the years, that even though it doesn't feel that way to me yet, because I still feel like every day is so long and people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's already October. I'm like, I can. Like, 2025 has been going on for 10 months and I feel every month of it.
I can't
And
believe Cora's as old as she is. I see Cora and I'm like, every time I see Cora, I'm like, what is this girl growing up so fast?
right. And so that's the thing, is like, since I'm still in it, but I believe and I understand, because of all the people with grown kids around me, that any day now I'm going to look over at her and she's going to be 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a really, I make it a point to, no matter what I'm feeling, I cherish every single moment with her. And I pay attention to every moment with her. And even if I want to like scream and like go do something else, or don't touch me right now, if she, no matter how like aggravated I am, if she comes over and wants to hug me, I will sit and hug her as long as I can.
Mm-hmm.
She's been wanting to match with me a lot lately, so we've been buying lots of matching outfits. I will do that for as long as she wants to do that, because I understand that's not going to happen forever. So she's definitely helped me with that, staying present and living with the moment in that area of life. But in my, other than her, I still, um, I still have to really make a point to be present, to slow down, to not multitask. We did a whole episode on multitasking.
I
And
was just thinking of that.
I find myself, I still multitask enough so that I know I'm missing things. And I
When,
think that's the important thing that we have to remember, is when we miss something, it might be gone forever.
it might be gone forever. And just touching on the multitasking, like I still sometimes do multitask, but I'm aware of it and I stop. Like as soon as I find, like again today, as I was running up the mountain, I wanted to check something really fast, and it was dark. It was like 6:30 in the morning. It was really dark, and I veered off because I was checking my phone because I wanted to check. I had something on my mind. I wanted to quickly check it, and then I'm like, Wendy, stupid. Why are you checking your phone as you're running? Stop it. Put it away. And then I I had to silence it so I didn't have those distractions. I think this day and age, there's the phone distractions and the notifications and the buzz and the ding ding and that is causing people to be distracted, to multitask, to not be present. And not being present could lead to illness and injury. You could be fighting
You could have
something.
wiped out.
I could have wiped out. You could, and again, illness and injury. I could have tripped. I could have broke a bone. I could have caused an injury when I started veering off the road onto the trail. When I'm on a trail, I don't look at anything because I have to really be present in the moment of a trail because I don't want to fall while running downhill over a rock. So that's probably when I'm most present in my training, is when I'm on the trail. But I think like slowing down, whether it's in sport and life, makes you more aware of signs and symptoms that your body's giving you, whether it's fatigue, we talk about sleep, whether it's a cold coming on, trying to fight off a certain virus that may be going around. you just become more aware of things that you can manage it. Like if you feel like you're getting a cold, so that cold doesn't develop into something big, take more, increase your vitamin C, increase other medicines that are going to help fight your or boost your immunity, and sleep better. That
Yeah.
can help you prevent a cold from blooming into something else.
Right.
So, it just like in sport, when you're feeling fatigued due to a workout, instead of forcing a hard workout the next day, make your recovery day the next day. Because if you try to force a workout that your body and mind don't want to do, that could lead to, again, overtraining, illness, injury. So I just think, because I've dealt with a lot of overtraining, illness, and injury early on in my days, before there was really any knowledge or information, I've learned from my past. So I presently train smarter for
Right.
where I'm at with what I want to do and where I'm at with my age. It's forced me to change things, because we're constantly evolving. We constantly have to change and be aware of stuff right now.
Right. And it's interesting because last week I was doing the step mill, and I took a picture of me on the step mill and I posted it on because I have like a Instagram about all my like training and fitness. And I was like, it was step mill day. And somebody commented and they go, "Why did you do step mill today?" Like, I don't know why they asked that, but they asked, "Why did you do step mill today?" And I said, and I thought about it and I was like, because it was the truth. I put, because I was too lazy to run. Because running to me is such like a high intensity and high effort activity. And step mill, even though it's hard for me, it's mentally easier to step mill than to run. And so I was like, I was listening to my body and I was like, I just don't have it in me to run today, like mentally, physically, emotionally. And I'd rather just step on the step mill. And so I do think for sure I'm getting a lot better at listening to my body in the physical aspect. And when doing physical things, physical training, I'm definitely getting better at food. What I see a lot of people doing, which I still struggle with a little bit, is when there's something going on emotionally or mentally in my life that I'm not comfortable with, I want to block it out with getting busy, training more, eating more. So more of like that, I'm working on staying in the moment, even when it's uncomfortable, instead of and get out of this uncomfortable feeling. And it
Right.
actually
Putting a
happened to me
Band-Aid on it.
yeah,
Trying to
it
figure.
actually happened to me this morning because as I've been talking about, I'm doing a streak. It's now a streak because it's been like 3 weeks, where I only drink 3 caffeines a day. And this morning I drank my Energize, which I love the flavor of it. I just love Energize. It's a pre-workout, and I drank a bottle of it. This isn't it. This is my shake, but I drank a whole bottle and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so good. And I was just getting a bunch of stuff done. And I was like, oh, I'm going to drink one more. And then I was like, but if you drink one more, you can't have your 2 Zavias later for lunch, which is also what I like to do. And so I think the old me would have just kept drinking Energize because I wanted it. So what I did, because I am trying to be more present and stop and think, I'm like, what is making me want this energy drink, a pre-workout, when I'm at home cleaning my house? Like, you don't need pre-workout if you're at home cleaning your house.
Right.
So I mean, things like that, it just try to make me think like, what am I feeling that I want to feel better? Or what am I trying to avoid? What feelings or what emotions am I trying to mask? And so I think that's what my goal for trying to slow down is seeing what kind of bubbles up to the surface, because it might be something that I want to address. I just don't know I want to address it.
Right. So another way I stay present in the moment, and I've been like this for years, but I used to, back in the day when we had Walkmans, I used to carry around a Walkman in my pocket, my jersey, listen to it on the bike or on the run. And just years ago, I mean, this was years ago. So really for years, I don't wear headphones when I'm listening to a podcast. I listen to it on my phone, and I turn down the volume. If I'm going near people or if I'm passing people, I'll turn the volume down and I'll turn it back up. So I don't like the distraction of earphones, and I really don't listen to music or anything like that. I like the sound of nature. Like, so many people are like, how do you do a race when you can't use your headphones? And I'm like, oh my God, there's so much going around while you're racing. Like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
there's so much to be present for. And then I want to touch on the food thing. So I've never really been a big emotional eater, but I noticed, this is when I lived in Colorado, so it's probably been like 15 years, candy, the Werthers. We talked about my Werther's addiction. I found that instead of eating like 3 pieces after every meal to get my sweet tooth, I would be eating a bag a day. I was a stress eater. I'd eat them as comfort. That was my comfort food.
Yeah.
And when I did my first challenge of giving them up, like for days, I'd be searching the house. I'm like, I just need one. I just need one. And that's when I knew I had an addiction. And then after a week, I didn't need them anymore. But it was like I was going through withdrawal, when it usually had to do with stress, anxiety, being overwhelmed, too much going on. I wasn't slowing down when all I needed to do was slow down and not pad my days. And that awareness was really big for me, to be aware of the reason, like, why do I need my Werthers? Why do I need this candy? It was comforting. It would take like 20 minutes to suck on one piece. It calmed me down. I'd have coffee with it because I was stress and anxiety. And once I was able to address that stress and anxiety level in my life, I didn't need the candy.
Right. So I was just going to ask you, and that this will go right along with that, what are some tips? So if we have listeners that are like, I don't know how to slow down. I can't slow down. I have too much to do. I have a family. I have a job. I have this. How do I slow down? I'm going crazy. I can't do it. What are some? And I know you're going to say mindset.
Again, mindset, but also like, I mean, you can journal, but also like keeping a calendar and really like dialing in. You work is non-negotiable, family's non-negotiable. Your activity may be non-negotiable. Everything you have going on is a non-negotiable, and you're feeling overwhelmed and you have too much to do. Prioritize and take a time when you can and write down, keep track of everything you do in a day. Like, write it down.
Yeah, you did that.
5 a.m. to 6 a.m., 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And when you start to like write down and like kind of lay out your day and all the things you do every hour, every minute, every second of your day, you'll start to see patterns of things that you can maybe cut back on, because you may start to see you do have bigger blocks of times. You're filling it with unfulfilling things, or you don't have to always meet your girlfriends for happy hour. You could go ride your bike at that time, or go do a workout instead of meeting the girls every day for happy hour. You meet the girls once a week for happy hour. So you just start to see patterns, and you start to really look at the picture because you're writing things down, you're getting it off your mind, and you're seeing it light out. And then that's when you can really make some changes, because when you think, without knowing for sure by writing it down, when you think you have no time, you'll start to see you really do have some moments of time to reorganize, restructure your day, spend more time with the family, less time with something that's non-fulfilling.
Yeah. One of the things that I did a couple weeks ago, because I was feeling like I mean, I kind of always feel like I can't get a handle on life, but it was actually like a little more extreme than normal. Because I was like, oh, I'm so behind on I keep these daily journals, one for me and one for Cora, about what we do each day. It's a 5-year journal. Well, I've talked about it before, but I was like 2 months behind on my journal for Cora. And I was like a month behind on mine. I also have this daily thing where I write like my, it's called a define my day journal. And it's like a goal each day, your priorities each day, tasks for your priorities, goals for the week, tasks for the week, to do for the week, your list of daily disciplines. Did you do them each day? Like, it's this thing. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I want to start my define my day journal again, because it keeps me really organized and motivated. to get to where I want to be. And so one of the things that I was going to start tracking last month was my income and expenses, because I know a budget and sticking with it and knowing where your money is going and coming from, just like your time and just like your calories. When you track something, you see like, oh wow, I didn't realize I was like that this was 500 calories, or that I didn't realize I was wasting an hour a day doing this. So I wanted to do that. So I started every day in order to keep up. I was trying to track my income and expenses, and I would get behind. So every week I was like 4 days behind. And then I would get like 7 days behind the next week. And I was so stressful. And so I stopped and thought, like, why am I tracking my expenses and my income? And the answer was because I feel like I should be on a budget. But in reality, I actually haven't like run out of money in months. I have, if I just glance at my bank account, I have like a bunch of different accounts. And if one gets low on money, I just transfer because they're all for different things. I'm doing fine on my income and expenses. I don't have a big goal right now for my anything that has to do with money. So why am I spending this time going through all these bank accounts? I have to go through my Amazon, my Venmo to see what I bought, to put it in what category. And it was taking up a lot of time. And I was getting so far behind, I was getting overwhelmed. So about a week ago, I was like, I'm just not going to track my income and expenses. It's not something like that's important to me right now. I'm not like, I have money right now. So it might not be the most responsible way of doing it, but if I'm making more money than I spend or equal, that's fine for me right now. And so I chose to let go of tracking my income and expenses. And that saved me not only like 20 to 30 minutes a day, but the stress of me getting behind on it.
Well, I want to jump on that. I think you've kept track of your expenses and budgeting so many times in your life. You have an idea.
Right.
You know without having a system. I think sometimes my husband does this. He gets so caught up in creating systems. He spends way too much time on a
Yeah.
system and no time at all on what he wants to accomplish once he has this system done. He
Right.
thinks when he creates this system for something that what he wanted to create the system for is completed, and he hasn't even started it. He is a woodworker. How many times has he cleaned the garage and reorganized his woodworking shop? When is the last time he's made something? He has to make stuff for the home or renovation, but like he spends way too much time organizing
And
that
planning and
and
getting ready.
planning. It's a system, and then he doesn't make anything. And it's like sometimes systems, people create systems like a budget. This is how you should use this app to use for your budget. And I'm like, no, I don't, that's not going to work for me. But I recognize those things, what's going to work for me, what's not, what kind of tracker for carbohydrates, for macronutrients is works for me, what works for my husband, or a calorie tracker or something like that. And I think, again, the more you do something, like I know you've had budgets so many times in your life that I think you have an idea, and
Right.
that's why you have money right now.
Right.
That's why you're doing okay. You're doing well because you've been behind so frequently. You've caught up. You've been ahead, and you kind of have that intuitive, a little more intuition with being ahead. I could be
Right.
wrong on that, but it's
No,
just a generalization that someone else might be able to relate to.
yeah, no, that makes so much sense. And I never really thought about that. But it's the same thing how you and I are pretty much with like calories and macronutrients at this point in our lives. We've been tracking it so much for so long that you and I know at the end of the day that we ate the right amount of calories and macros for whatever we just did that day without
Yeah,
having to track it.
right.
And I never really thought about it in the budget way, but I'm exactly like Dawn. And I, that's part of this not being in the moment. That's part of this. Okay, if I can get this budget perfected, or if I could get this wood shop clean, then everything else is going to be easy.
Right.
And so we spend all our time and effort doing that, and then never have the time or effort to actually do anything with it.
Right. I see that a lot.
Oh my gosh, I totally get that. All right. So what are you in this realm of, slowing down, living in the moment? Is there anything that you're working on or want to do better at?
I think I'm doing fine. I haven't been anxious or overwhelmed in a long time. I feel like with experience, I know the key things I need to do with my business to get ahead. Finally, because I've had a business coach and I've learned a lot. I feel like with my training, I'm in my off season from multi-sport. I'm in my in season for trail running, but I'm working with a lot of athletes, phasing them into the off season. And I think athletes really struggle because there's a lot of confusion. Off season doesn't mean time off. Off season does include time off, but it does include certain activities, technical, strength, mobility, dialing in your nutrition and your sleep habits in the off season, out of season, fall, winter season. So you're a step ahead when you get into January, which is usually when people kind of launch into their new season.
Right.
I think the problem athletes have is they don't have any structure in their off season, and it should be loose structure, definitely a big decrease in training load. But if they have absolutely no structure, then it's very haphazard, and then they feel behind and they cram into the new season. And that cramming and that rush and that panic and that go leads to burnout, illness, injury, and the cycle continues. So right now in my life, it's working with athletes to phase them into their off season in a way that's best going to help them succeed when they launch into their new season. Because right now I feel a sense of calmness. My training's going well leading up to my race. I'm going on vacation. I'm mentally and physically ready to go on vacation with my husband. And I'm not feeling anxious, overwhelmed by that. I'm planning ahead. I'm getting all my athletes' schedules done so I don't really have to do much work while I'm on vacation.
Right. One thing, if I know a lot of people who listen to this are athletes, a couple things that Wendy and I have touched on in the past that maybe you forgot about, or just need a reminder. An off season, and we always say that in quotes because everyone's off season is different. But if you are coming into an off season, if you're wanting to lose weight, lose body fat, gain muscle, this is a good time to do that. Because as we've discussed before, especially if you're doing a long endurance, if you're doing like an Ironman or half Ironman or an ultra, when you start specifically training for that event, that's a very bad time to try to lose weight or to lift heavy So this is a great time. Like I have one of my athletes, he loves lifting heavy, and he kind of backed off a little because his goal was a half Ironman, and he finished that last month. And he's like, you know what? For the next few months, I'm just going to lift heavy. Awesome. Like that's something different. It's something he enjoys. It's something he kind of backed off on a little bit while he was doing, especially the last few weeks when he was doing like longer runs and longer rides and then tapering. And so, doing the thing that either you didn't do because that you love, but didn't do because you were focusing on something else, or you couldn't do more of because you just didn't have the time to do both. Like in December, Wendy and I swim a lot. Like we do Diswimber, join us. And if I had all the time in the world, every single day, I would swim every day because it feels good. I'd throw on my fins and just do some stretching out and swim a half hour every day. And so in December, I take a break from running. I take a break from biking. I'll bike a little bit and I'll just swim almost every day. And then I feel rejuvenated to start biking and running again in January.
Right. And I think, in sport, my sport always applies to my life. Everything I've ever learned is because of sport, because I've been an athlete since I've been 4 years old. I was a swimmer, so that's just part of me. That's part of my lifestyle. That was part of my upbringing, but we phase in and out. I never stop. We never stop anything. We don't just stop our business, but we slow down our business. From a multi-sport coach, athletes are going to leave in this fall winter season. They're going to take a break. They don't want coaching. They don't want to invest in coaching. They're going to prioritize something else. You're going to lose athletes. You're going to gain athletes. There's always a wave in the business that we're in, and it's the same wave with sport. There's a phase of slowing down, and the fall winters is that time of year. The Hawaiian Ironman recently took place, and that's usually like when the off season, out of season starts, because there's not that many more races after that, and that's usually someone's peak race if they're at that level. So you just slow down and you accept it. That's just part of being an athlete. You just have to accept that there's going to be a little detraining, and that's good for you. That's healthy for you. You may gain a couple pounds. That's good for you. That's healthy for you. It starts to get dark earlier. I love the time change because I prefer light in the morning, but some people don't. But that's just part of life. And again, it's a mindset. It's your attitude. It's seasons are temporary. You just got to learn to flow with them. And it just with our experience, I know it has to do with our experience. We've learned to flow.
Mm-hmm.
Highs and lows, highs and lows, highs, go, 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 slow down so we can go, 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 go again.
Yeah. So this is a great time, like Wendy said, if you're an athlete, but also if you're just a busy human or you're trying to stay up late, it does get dark earlier now. And it's going to be getting darker earlier for the next few months. So listen to your body, listen to your rhythm. Maybe as soon as it starts getting dark is when you're going to start winding down. Whereas in summer, it doesn't get dark here until 9:30 p.m. And then for people who wake up early, that's really stressful. So
Right.
enjoy the hibernation.
Enjoy. I was going to say, there's a reason animals hibernate.
Yeah.
That's just nature.
Yeah. So,
Right.
yeah. Anything else you can think of? I love the hibernation ending.
Yeah. No, I got to start wrapping it up. I got to get
Okay.
going.
Did you have any listener questions?
Not this week.
Me neither, but let's get some for next week because I always have some and then I forget to like save them.
Write them down.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I don't want to
as
sit and look for them now.
Right. As a coach, I get questions all the
Every
time
day.
from athletes, but I'm never thinking, oh, this would be a great question for the podcast. But definitely, maybe our next podcast, we just do a bunch of listener questions, especially because I'm going to be traveling. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Is Don and I are going on a 2-week, maybe less, but we're going on a 2-week road trip on the East Coast to see the color changes here on the East
Oh,
Coast. And we're going to visit his sister and his nephews and nieces and all these people in New York. And then we're going to spend a few days in Cape Cod. I've never been there. So basically, it's our 20-year anniversary trip. 20-year
oh, that's
wedding
going to be
anniversary.
amazing. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, have so much fun. Enjoy that. I love road trips.
Yeah.
I do love road trips. I am looking forward to the rest of the month. It's October right now, and I was thinking the other day when I walked outside and it was like freezing cold, and then in the day it's like burning hot. And I was like, I used to get so excited in the fall. Like the fall was always my very favorite time. But now that I don't really like the winter, when summer starts ending, I've been getting really bummed. So I just remembered the other day, I'm like, you used to love fall. Like fall, my birthday's in a month. My daughter's favorite holiday is Halloween. She's obsessed with Christmas too, which I'm not a big Christmas fan, but I get to see my sister and her kids. And like looking ahead over the next couple months, I am so excited to be in a routine, but get to experience all these holidays coming up because my daughter's so excited about it. And it just reminded me that I do love this time of year. And I don't know when I started thinking I didn't. So it kind of created a little bit of excitement about this upcoming month because I'm like, oh yeah, you love this time of year.
Yeah. This time of year is great. Weather wise. And again, the season's winding down for most athletes to take some time off and then to jump into their out of season activity. It's the time of year that I think even as just non-athletes, people in general, the holidays are coming up. You slow down, you spend more time with friends and family. That's just part of human. That's just part of the deal. Whether you like your family or dislike your family, there's always some family drama in every family. just, change that attitude and look forward to it. And just know with the upcoming holidays and the seasons, I just like change. I've always
Yeah.
liked change. So
Yeah.
seasons are times of changes. And I used to not like fall because it was closer to winter, but I love all seasons. There's not one season that I dislike. Even winter, I've changed my attitude. I embrace the cold.
Yeah. And we talked about this like a month ago on a podcast about embracing change. So if you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to that one because that was really helpful with purposefully and intentionally finding things that you love about every single phase of your life, and it'll make your life a lot better.
Yep.
So awesome. Thank you guys for being here today. Wendy, have an amazing trip.
Thank you. I will.
And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for being here.
Make it a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten.
If you want to learn more about us or anything we talked about today, check out the links in our show notes.
We would love to know what you think of our podcast and what you want more of. So drop us a comment, send us a message, and help us out by leaving us a rating and a review.
And don't forget to let us know your wellness win for this week.
Thanks for listening.
Make it a great day.